Alright, what I want to share with you today is a small application game called the Powder Toy, and it's absolutely free. And there's a whole bunch of instructions when you first fire it up. And this is available on mobile or on PC. But from what I can gather, it's a particle simulator, and it's the coolest simulator that I've seen that deals with particles that have different properties and things like that. So um, let's start with a little bit of sand. Sand is heavy particles, melts into glass, and then with the left click, we can sprinkle some sand into our world. And if we add some lava on top of the sand, it should get really, really hot, and the sand will melt some and turn into glass. But if the sand is cool itself, it tries to equalize the temperature and turns the lava into ash, I guess, stone. At the very top right, you can see the temperature is bouncing around right around 500 degrees Celsius, but it says STNE, so that's the abbreviation for stone. Uh, I can hover the cursor over the sand that says sand, and that's the temperature of the sand there, but you can see the temperature of the sand all the way over here away from where I dropped a bunch of the lava. The temperature of this sand is 22 degrees Celsius, whereas we get closer to the lava, the temperature increases, and then we can see that the lava itself is a melted stone in excess of 1,000 degrees Celsius. So what happens when we take some water and pour a bunch of water in the world? So that's pretty cool. Over here where it's colder, the water stays water, but as it approaches higher temperatures, as we get closer to the lava, it turns into a water vapor. And as it turns into a water vapor, it also develops air currents because of the differentiating pressures that are created. So this area has zero point zero 0.01 pressure, whereas this area has a negative pressure that's bringing it up, carrying it up. I believe that if the pressure is increased as well at the very top, you can condense the water vapor back into water, and eventually this will cool off and it will coalesce and it will fall back down as rain. Uh, I don't think it happens like in mass, but it does happen. So as we can see, most of our water here is turned into water vapor. What happens when we drop some water right on top? It's probably cooled that lava off quite a bit. It's really neat looking because it creates like a cushion of evaporated water that then floats the like diverts the water away because of the air pressure. A simulacrum of maybe the real world water on top of lava. Pretty neat. All right, let's start over. This button right down here is the refresh or erase everything button. So let's start with water, actually. Throw some water in our world, and then maybe diesel. Liquid diesel explodes under high pressure and temperatures. Looks like diesel floats on water. So that's pretty neat. And what happens if we, say, find some fire? We got fire in here somewhere. Right here. We draw some fire up here. So heat rises. So As we drew the fire, the heat rose and it created a vacuum which sucks the particles and airflow up in that direction. If we touch the fire to the diesel, what do you think is going to happen? It ignited quite a bit of it and turned a lot of it into smoke. And then we've also got, looks like water vapor. It looks like diesel maybe is not as flammable as some other liquids that I know of. So maybe we'll throw some oil on here. And it looks like oil is heavier than diesel, but still floats on water. Where's my fire at? There we go. And then let's touch the oil with the fire. Look at that. That was a lot of different things going on at the same time. So not all of the oil combusted in that case. What we have here, you might not be able to see it as it appears up here, but the description of this particle should be gas. So that's the same thing as this right here. And that is evaporated oil. So as oil heats up, it will off-gas into gas. And as it coalesces and compresses, we got a fire up here. And it's spread over here apparently. And as the gas coalesces, it'll turn back into oil. Let's reset this. Throw a bunch of gas in here. And if I can find the thing that creates pressure, creates airflow and pressure. See, there we go. We got oil down at the bottom. Because I pushed this around and compressed it, and it went back down into oil. Pretty neat stuff. Oh, right click in this case erases. So mouse wheel, scroll wheel up and down increases the size of your paintbrush or what have you. But if you right click, you suck everything away like a vacuum cleaner. And as you can see, everything is contained within this box, right? Nothing can escape the box. Unless I go to the very top. The selector here on the right is all the different materials and particles and your tools that you can play with. We can choose the wall at the very top and then choose the first selection from the right going to the left, erase walls, and we can erase some of the walls around the border of our world, and then that way the particles can escape. And have a place to go if we wanted. But let's start over. This is your world, your happy little world. Let's see if we can make a volcano. And put some water in our world, and then maybe if I can find the sand again. There it is. And then I'll drop some sand in here to make some island, I guess. And then a big one in the middle, I think. and then maybe suck some of this water away. It's a little bit too much. And I'm going to find my wood and shrink my paintbrush down a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to draw some trees. Happy little trees. And then I'm going to put some vine on here. Vine says grows along wood. And also grows into the water, I guess. We have a runaway effect now. So vine on the trees. And you can choose plant too. Drinks water and grows is what it said. But I think the vine does the same thing as the plant. It's just that vine grows on the wood and plant grows by itself. So if I were to take a little bit of water and sprinkle it, when it hits the plants, it should begin to grow. Which is what we see happening here. But if I want to make a volcano in the middle of this world, I'm going to have to erase some of the volcano. Just clear some of this up here. But if I go to erase some of the volcano, you'll see that it just falls away because of the particles. The gravity effects. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit pause down here in the lower right hand side. That way I can take out a section of this this sand, and it won't be affected by gravity, so it won't have the physics applied to it because we're paused. But if I unpause it, everything will begin to behave as it's supposed to behave in the simulation. So I am going to recover this area with some sand. And what I'm going to put in here is some rubium, I think. Rubium explosive, especially when contact with water. And then we've got liquid rubium, which is just a different temperature. But I'm going to put rubium all in here. And maybe just a little bit more. And then one small dot in the middle. We'll fill that with water. Oh boy. And then we'll paint this right here with some water. And this over here. And hopefully the plant doesn't take off before this explodes, and then unpause the simulation. That was cool. I think I wanted to see glass. Glass meltable, shatters under pressure, and refracts photons. I don't know what all that means, but I do know that if I draw a big old hunk of glass right here in the middle, and if I come down to the bottom of my tools and select heat, I can heat up, whoops, I'm holding down left click, and we should see the temperature begin to increase in the upper right hand side. And eventually I can heat this glass up until it melts, and then once it melts, it'll fall down to the cool sand below, and then that should cool it off again, and it'll re-solidify back into glass. And I believe that if I increase the cursor size, it will get hotter faster. And as you can see, as it heats up, it changes color. And I think with enough heat we can burn everything in this little world. And then we can erase everything and start all over. Another cool thing about this powder toy is the bottom left-hand corner of the box. You can open up other people's projects where they've worked on stuff and saved their progress and then uploaded it and shared it. It's a plethora of fun, a whole bunch of different things that you can take a look at. And just with a click, you can open it, and then it loads it into your world, and you can unpause the simulation and see what somebody else made. And then you can maybe choose bomb and then destroy it all, because that's what you like to do. This is your world. You can do whatever it is you want. Now that's fantastic. And then you can click the refresh right by the upload button. The refresh button just to the right of it on the lower left hand side, and it resets everything right back to the way it was. And then you can destroy it all again. And this is the powder toy, and it's available on mobile as well. So I've got it on my Android. It's easy to find it. You can download it, type in the powder toy into Google, and it should pop up with this powdertoy.co.uk. You can click on that website and download it right from here. And I think there's updates still being pushed about this. So I don't think this is it. I think it's still getting stuff added to it. It's really cool. So check it out. Peace.